Tonight, Gainesville residents gathered to share their opinions about the police department's K-9 unit in a heated community meeting. TV 20's Lali Salache tells us why some have strong opinions about the unit.
The dogs are here for a purpose to save us, for the citizens. Act up.
Dozens of residents and GPD officers gathered to discuss the status of the K-9 unit at the MLK Junior Center. Since last Thursday, Alachua County Sheriff's officials have been lending their K-9 unit to Gainesville Police after City Manager Cynthia Curry took the unit off duty.
I'm against the Gainesville Police Department's K-9 unit. The Gainesville Police Department has not shown any proof that those K-9s are useful.
GPD's unit faced criticism since Terrell Bradley was mauled and lost an eye after fleeing a traffic stop last July. Residents did not hold back from voicing their concerns about the K-9 unit.
It needs to be dealt with as soon as possible because they're going to keep doing the same thing over and over again. And the black community, we are going to suffer.
Some urged officials to remove the K-9 unit. However, some came to show their support for the K-9 unit and say it's a key component for the city.
These dogs have given the city of Gainesville wonderful service, and they need to be in operation in the city of Gainesville, properly staffed, properly supervised, properly trained as soon as possible.
GPD officers shared how the K-9 unit is a key component within public safety. GPD's team now trains with ASO's dogs and deputies.
I had a strong sense of public service, and I found the K-9 unit to be a very, very effective way to do that. And so that's why I think it needs to remain, needs to be staffed, needs to be trained, and needs to be funded.
A second meeting will occur next Tuesday at the Williams Elementary. In Gainesville's Lali Salache, TV